On Fanalysis, we use fantasy football analytics combined with the latest sports betting trends to help you figure out the NFL games for Week 4. Jared Smith of Pickswise joins us to go over the locals this week. We start things off with the Jets. 0-3. Winless against the spread this entire year. Now Vegas is putting that to the test. They're getting 8 points as home dogs to Tennessee. Will the Jets finally earn a little respect this week? Have they earned your respect at least?
I hope so. I do think respect is earned in this business and in the world of sports. They have earned my respect because they haven't backed down. And I would have liked to see a little more fight Sunday against the Broncos, but I think they, at that point, they were just waving the white flag. It is a war of attrition in the NFL. And unfortunately, they're down a safety this week with Marcus May, but Tennessee's got some injuries on their end too. With Brown and Jones, and those are big injuries because that's going to make the field, stretched a little bit for the Jets defense, where now they can kind of play in a phone booth and try to defend Derrick Henry. And on the other side, I know Zach Wilson's looked bad, but if you zoom out big picture, the kid's played 3 games in the NFL against 3 of the top 10 defenses in the league, according to the analytics. Now he gets to face the Titans, who are not in the top 10 of the defensive analytics that we like to look at every week. So I think if there ever was a week for Zach Wilson to kind of earn our respect and show you that there is a reason why the Jets chose him second, I think this is the week. I
mean, this is all trending towards a game that is going to be won and lost in the trenches. Let's look at some numbers here. The Jets defense allows 110 rushing yards per game, which is pretty much middle of the pack. However, less than 4 yards per carry, which is top 10 in the NFL. The question here is, can the Jets unit slow down that big Derrick Henry? I mean, he's a big load.
And that's going to be the difference in the game. And I think when you ask that question, though, Steve, we start to paint, we're going to be like Quentin Tarantino trying to create the game script here. And I think the script, if it is Derrick Henry left, right, and center, well, that's tough to lay a touchdown plus with a team that is a one-dimensional offense, right? So I think the line value.
But you are talking about a Jets team that hasn't scored in 2 games. By the way, hasn't scored a touchdown.
I promise that will change this week. Okay. I'll go out on a limb and say the Jets are scoring a touchdown.
Okay, you're not going to bet shaving your eyebrows on that or anything, are you?
No. It's too valuable. This is the moneymaker, Steve. We got to keep this thing intact for future segments. But I'm going out on a limb. The Jets are scoring a touchdown this week.
Scoring a touchdown.
And they're going to score. How about this? They're going to score 2 touchdowns this week.
Jared,
let's double it up.
You're crazy.
I think the line value does really point to continuing to look the other way when it comes to what your eyes see. And I know that's hard. I know every Jets fan watching this that has been a loyal Jets fan for years, like myself, is telling me, this kid's crazy. We're watching this team stink it up every week. Why are you continuing to put your hard-earned dough on it? Well, in the NFL, the lines, listen, as good as we are at our jobs, the guys making the lines are really good at theirs. And they're giving us more enticement to bet on the Jets because they know they're not going to get any action on the other side. And when the lines continue to move against teams and then it crosses over that key number of 7, you just have to close your nose, hold your nose, close your eyes, and just fire away because that's what the value says.
Well, you would be going against Vegas because 97% of the tickets and 98% of the handle is on the Titans to win by more than 8 points in New York, which is it's crazy to imagine a home dog getting that many points. Let's talk about the Giants because they're getting a touchdown against the Saints. There's a lot happening in this game, starting with the Saints' return to New Orleans.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest storyline here. And I'm worried about the mental health of this Giants team because if you look at the stats, well, their numbers aren't terrible. They've lost some games at the last second. They've lost games because of fluky penalties, maybe a penalty that shouldn't have even been called.
Right.
They've lost games where they've been ahead and they've given up the lead late. And all of those things to me tell me that, all right, well, you play out a game certain 50 times, maybe, half the time or 100 times, maybe 50 times they win, 50 times they lose. But unfortunately, the Giants have been on the wrong end of those coin flips through the first couple weeks. The first game, week 1, I think, they lost that game. But the last 2 weeks, 1 or 2 plays in either direction, and the Giants could be 2-1. But this is a different Saints defense than I think teams are used to. When we think about the Saints, we think about offense and Drew Brees and all those great teams that went to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl. We don't really give their defense, I think, enough credit, but the analytics do. And they are one of the top defensive units in the league. And I think that's going to be the key here. Now, Jameis makes it hard for me to lay a whole lot of points. And that's why I think the better move with the Saints, because of the emotional homecoming, because of the volatility with Jameis Winston, I'm confident that they're going to win this game. So if we do what we love to do, and I know you love the teasers here.
There we go.
This, to me, is the ultimate teaser spot this week. You move the Saints to under a field goal. You get them at 1, 1.5, 2, depending on where you do your shopping. To me, I don't think New Orleans is losing this game. Joe Judge and Daniel Jones look lost mentally, and I think New Orleans is going to maybe not win by a lot, but I think they're going to get a win at home.
A teaser is two-way. Who are you pairing this one with?
This was tough this week. I had a couple of choices here. Baltimore, getting them up. I know we talked about them in the prior segment. That was an interesting one, getting them up to 7. I thought the Packers at home were an interesting one as well. But I eventually landed on the Chiefs. And the reason is they haven't lost 3 games in a row since 2017. And I just can't see them losing 3 in a row. They're under 500 right now. The, amazing, extraordinary, greatest show on turf, Patrick Mahomes, under 500 right now through 3 games. I know it's early. I know they lost one of those games against Baltimore by a fluky fumble late that could have gone either way. But same can be said about the game they won against Cleveland. The punter drops the snap, and then they botch the secondary coverage on Tyreek Hill. So the Chiefs have been on the knife's edge this year with their games, obviously losing last week to Justin Herbert, who I think when we look back on the season, that loss might look a little different than it does now because I think the Chargers are for real. But to me, the Chiefs going to Philly against an Eagles team that was just exposed by a Cowboys offense on Monday night, short week. Now they have to face a pissed-off Patrick Mahomes. That's tough to me. I would definitely move this line through to 1, and you get the Chiefs laying under a field goal. And I think Kansas City's not going to lose 3 in a row.
Okay, I want to go big picture here because you're actually 3 for 3 on teasers this year. This is why we love asking you about teasers. In fact, more than that, you've literally won every 6 bet. If you would have just bet those straight up or a parlay, you would have won those outright. So what is it about the alternate lines that keeps you coming back to using that line manipulation to help you out in the teasers?
Yes, that's exactly it, Steve. Line manipulation. Because, again, we don't have an advantage over the sports books. In our minds, we do. Before I make a bet, it has a 100% chance of winning. And then the game starts, and then those percentages change very drastically. But our perceived edge on the sports books is much bigger in our minds than it is actually in real life. So anytime I can manipulate the lines in my favor, that to me is winning. I don't do this a lot in college football because I don't think the points are as valuable. But in the NFL, just like I said earlier, as good as we are at our jobs, those guys making the lines are better. And if you're telling me that this team's supposed to win by 7 and I get to play them at 1, that's an advantage for me. And if you can navigate the minefields of, avoiding some of those volatile results, which is easier said than done, and it's why at some point we're going to lose one of these teasers, hopefully not this week. To me, that is a winning strategy long term because you are constantly moving the line in your favor, manipulating the sports books in a sense, and you're trying to gain that just extra sliver of value that, again, long term, week 1, week to week, it's going to be volatile. You might lose, you might win. But long term, if you continue to manipulate those lines in your favor, I think you can be a winning bettor.
I might just offer this up to you here. Your teasers have been so good. You might want to back that up with a parlay of the exact same one, and then
we lose one.
That's true. Now you're getting greedy here. That's how he sees the Jets and the Giants and the teaser of the week. Make sure you check out our other segment on his top plays of the week as well. For Jared Smith of Pickswise, I'm Steve Overmyer. This is Fanalysis.